Now little did our handsome adventurer realise, but although it had been going quite well so far, the next few hours would have a whole lot more in store. Right then, time for quite a big old catch-up. Day 2, it turned out, was a bit of a shocker. I was in Salamanca. It took me a good sort of 2 hours probably to get a lift from there. Eventually this really nice Spanish man did stop, and so I kind of said to him, look, can you drop me off at a service station? And he was like, yeah, but then he was telling me all about this fiesta. And so we decided to go and look at the town, and so he dropped me off in the town, and there was just absolutely no way I could get a lift from there. And I must have been there as well for like 2 hours. I had to walk for like 2 kilometres down the autoroute, like along the side of the autoroute to get to the first service station, and it was pissing with rain, and I was in a bit of a grumpy mood, so I didn't want to get the camera out. I still had to wait for another hour or so, but eventually I got a lift, and it was in a massive lorry, like a proper HGV. He was offering to let me use his phone, his telephone, his mobile phone to call it my family, but we arrived at night, like late, so I had to camp. So basically there's a truck station, can you see all the trucks behind me? And so I just had to set up my tent in there, but it was really windy and it was really raining. And so basically what happened was, when I was putting up the tent, the poles broke. I just had to sleep in a little waterproof bin bag, and I couldn't sleep because it's freezing. It is freezing now actually.
I guarantee you I'm never doing anything even remotely like this ever again.
Basically I'm on the brink of failure. My new plan is this: get from here into France and all the way up to Bordeaux or the Dordogne today before night time, because I have some friends that live there in the Dordogne that have a B&B. Otherwise, if I don't make it, I think I'm just gonna fail, and I can't do another night in the rain. It's funny to think what a state I am in now, with no tent, like pretty muddy, probably smell quite a lot, to how I was just 2 days ago sitting in the pool by the villa. So talk about ups and downs. So this morning I was pretty much ready to give up. I mean, last night was rubbish, but it also took me about five hours or something to get the first lift this morning. The first lift was only like 60 k's, but then I was just in the middle of nowhere, really like slightly starting to panic, because it just seemed like the further north of Spain I went, the harder it was to get a lift. Either that, or just as the weather got bad, it was getting harder to get a lift. And then all of a sudden I was just holding up a sign for France, and this truck driver stops for me. He's like, yeah, I'll take you to France. And he was actually living in Irun. He was actually living in Irun, which is actually just on the border of France. That's where he's dropped me off. And now I feel like I'm in a totally different world. Everything's green, everything's recognisable, and I'm feeling a lot more confident. Everyone seems a bit more friendly about the hitching thing. So as I kind of predicted, as soon as we got here to France, things are going swimmingly well. I quickly got picked up by those boys and taken to Bayonne, and then I was quickly picked up by a couple. First time I was ever picked up in a Mercedes, because you don't usually get that. It's usually the scummier cars that get you. But the only problem is now it's just starting to rain a bit, so oh, here comes one now. That's cool. So I'm not happy. Oh.
Salut. Aux deux, parfait, merci.
It's pretty handy. When I was just talking to you then, I literally just got picked up. This lovely young French lady, and she's just filling up with fuel, but she's going to drop me off in a place which will put me in a bon direction. So that sounds good. And she dropped me off in a really good spot actually, but it was getting a bit late. People don't like picking up when it's dark. I actually found this bus shelter. That was quite interesting actually, because in it, so I'm keeping in this bus shelter, and in it is written, Cliff hitchhiked here in '91. So I wrote underneath, Tim hitched and slept here in '08. And so now it is the morning, and I'm trying to hitch, but as I say, it's Sunday morning. No one's really up for it, so I'm just hiking it. I have absolutely no idea where I am, but I'm just appreciating it for the time being. Check this out. So, as much as I do enjoy, or I was enjoying, walking through the Dordogne countryside, it was a very pleasant walk. It was, in actual fact, just over 60 k's to get to this town of Nontron. This old man in the car pulled up and he was happy for me to jump in. He was asking me about what I do, or what I was doing, and I was explaining that I was doing this film and that I was only allowed to hitchhike and I wasn't allowed to spend any money, and he kind of said, oh, I am the witness. So I thought he was saying like, yeah, I'll tell them that that you've done it without cheating or whatever. But he kept on saying this, I'm a witness. Turned out he's a Jehovah's Witness, so he did spend a lot of the journey telling me about Christianity and stuff, which is fair enough, because you know, he did take me 60 k's and he was a very good man, so I considered it for a while, but I'm going to stick with being a Jedi, I think. So that's where we're going to pause our story for the time being. Our dashing hero has lost his tent and run out of food, but he's made it up to the Dordogne and visited his friends, where he can rest before continuing.